Okay, so the creation of Puranas, or great histories. We are reading every day from the most amazing Purana, transcendental Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavata Purana. It was given to us by a great Muni in his complete maturity. When Vyasavada was completely mature and he wrote all the Vedas, here of course it's explained that it's originally given by Brahma, although we also know that original Srimad Bhagavatam as Brahma heard it was in 4 shlokas, and then he expanded it to Narada Muni and it expanded. Then we have Vyasadeva's version, Shukadeva Goswami's version, Sutta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada also expanded. We have a little more, quite more with the purports, and with each and every other version, the Bhagavatam gets much more relishable. And actually, we wouldn't be able to relish Srimad Bhagavatam, or although it is the ripened fruit, bitten by the parrot Shukadeva, and in this way it became even more sweet. How is that verse? Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukhat amrita dravasam yutam vibata bhagavatam rasamalaya muhuraho rasika bhuvibhavukaha. It became very sweet, and all great personalities are finding great satisfaction in reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the greatest of all the Puranas. And we wouldn't be probably able to relish the sweetness without Srila Prabhupada's purports. If we have just Sanskrit, then we are lost completely. Even many people who think they know Sanskrit, they think they can themselves just read the Sanskrit and take full benefit, but without parampara, without explanation by Acharya, they cannot really approach the real deep meaning. And this is another topic a little bit, but there are quite some Sanskrit scholars who do not agree with Srila Prabhupada's translations, because Srila Prabhupada's translations are not like technically exact translations of the shlokas, but they give the real meaning of the shloka which is there, and it's given according to Guru Parampara, and sometimes Srila Prabhupada translates in word to word like cinema songs. There's one word he uses, or the Krishna consciousness movement, in word-to-word translation. So the scholars, of course, they freak out. What is this translation? This is not there in the shloka. But Srila Prabhupada translated it in practical way how to apply it, and actually the real meaning is there as he translated it. And these scholars, they can think they grasp the grammar and everything, but without knowing the whole context and the whole essence of Bhagavatam, there can be different translations. There is a verse. There is one Sanskrit scholar, so-called, in Czech Republic, and he published Bhagavad Gita. And his purpose of Bhagavad Gita are focused on criticizing other translations of Bhagavad Gita as wrong. So there is you have the translation, his translation of the verse, and then his purport. So one paragraph is academic Czech translation, and he criticized how they did wrong or good. And then Bhaktivedanta Swami, how he did usually wrong or good. And his book is like this, just blasphemy of other authors. And he published it, and he is his historian, and he is very much into Vedic literature, and translated Manu Samhita and some other texts, some Upanishads. And he is very popular amongst people who are interested into Sanskrit text and Indian knowledge. And in one shloka, which one was that? I don't remember. How is this shloka? Learning shlokas. People think that I have been previously impersonal, and then I later took the personal form. Yeah. Yeah, this verse. Yeah. So he translated actually just completely opposite as Srila Prabhupada translated. That those who are unintelligent, they think that I was before a person and I became avyakta, non-manifested. And he says, and here Bhaktivedanta Swami is translated completely oppositely, and that means he is, and he uses the word demon. It's horrible, but he uses Srila Prabhupada's terminology. And then he has like this long purport criticizing Srila Prabhupada, how badly he translated. And I asked, we have a BBT devotee there in Czech who is translating for BBT, and he is the Sanskrit, also went through the Sanskrit translator and editor. So I asked him, how is it? Because I don't know Sanskrit that well, so I can argue with that scholar. And he said, yeah, he actually is right. It can be translated like this also. It can be translated like this also. But the translation which is given by Srila Prabhupada is actually more direct translation, because with his translation you have to little bit play with the verbs, to which nouns they are connected. You can do it. It's completely okay with the grammar, but you have to play a little bit with that. But the translation given by Srila Prabhupada is very direct. It's just exactly like it is written. So that was one point. And second point is that Srila Prabhupada's translation is fits to the whole context of Bhagavad Gita, but his translation doesn't fit there. So with the context of Bhagavad Gita, you have to, even if it wouldn't be so direct, you have to translate like this, because otherwise it does not fit together with other shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. And actually I checked then some other shlokas which are clearly devotional, because his concept is that we are the principles included in Bhagavad Gita which describe the Supreme Person, the Supreme Brahman as a person, are added to Bhagavad Gita later. This is contamination, because the original Upanishads and everything is impersonal, and from his angle of view, I don't know if he read any time Srila Prabhupada's purports, how he explains the Supreme Personality, but from this scholar's view, person means it's immediately limited, so it's already materialism, it's materialistic, and you cannot describe the absolute like this. He cannot be limited by any form, and in this way he is quite critical. And when I check the other shlokas, it does not fit into his explanation of the other shlokas, so he just easily comments, this shloka was added by by some later scholars or influenced people by already, degraded concept of Vedic knowledge, which means that the absolute is personal, and then it means material, and like that. So he does not even agree, he does not even accept that Bhagavad Gita is a work complete, and it should somehow or other go everything together. So these people, they then criticize Srila Prabhupada's purports, and translations, some of them. But actually, I have another god brother, Keshavananda Prabhu, maybe you have heard about him. And he is also Sanskrit, he knows everything like that, so he can read and translate and everything. And he explained that Srila Prabhupada's translation, which if you see the context and the deep meaning of the word, he actually does not translate not only in the shlokas where he says something like cinema songs or ISKCON, but when he gives translation, he gives the word means something, but practical application has to be understood from that. So Srila Prabhupada directly gives the practical application, how to really, what the verse actually really means for our lives. And in this way, he translates in the best way, because we can understand what that really means and how we should apply. And this is also understandable from the Sanskrit if you go a little deeper into the Sanskrit knowledge and like that. So Srila Prabhupada's translation, we shouldn't be at all, how to say, doubtful that maybe Srila Prabhupada adjusted a little bit and a little there to make it more personal, than impersonal. For us to convince us. So sometimes we can hear different arguments, but actually Srila Prabhupada's translations are the most amazing ones. And I am sure that especially his purports are cherished by great acharyas of past, when they must be very much happy with Srila Prabhupada. Giving Bhagavatam with his amazing purports, and I am sure that they really relish when devotees read Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada's purports. I am sure that the Guru Parampara, the predecessors of Srila Prabhupada must really relish when they hear, these amazing purports. And for us, the purports are actually more important than the shlokas itself. The purports are more important for us. Sometimes we meet people who read only, who buy our books, especially Bhagavad Gita, and they read only shlokas because they don't need any purport from someone else. Yeah? They will directly understand it. So this is another category. Yeah? Something they can read just Sanskrit themselves without any acharya, any guru. They will understand it. And the others, they think they will just read the translation and they don't need any purport and they will understand it. In the same way we have in Christianity, many people, they directly speak with Jesus or they just read Bible themselves and they don't consult with anyone else, anyone senior, because nobody is worthy. We are all able to have direct relationship with the Lord and Jesus Christ. So in this way we also can think that we can have direct relationship with Krishna and just read the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita and not read purports, but actually the purports are the essence, and they made the book really relishable for us. So we can understand the text, the shlokas, we can understand them, we can apply them. It's also understood that in shloka there is so much meaning, coded into that short code of these mostly anushtup verses in Bhagavad Gita, these 8 syllables lines, which are quite short. So there is much more included in it, and it can be explained much more. And we have different commentaries from different acharyas, and they give different angles of view. And usually, also, what is interesting that commentaries of other acharyas are a little different from Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. They are usually very much grammatical. Maybe you have read Vishwanath Chakravarti or Baladevi Debhushan's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, and it's basically analyzing the grammar and giving the explanation on the basis of grammar, different meanings, different connections, and explanation of the words, and what does this mean in this case, this word means this, and connected to this it means that, so that means this, and they explain philosophy on the basis of grammar, because grammar is logic, or logic is grammar, or how to put it. But it's like every science is like a mathematical line, that plus minus. So when you put this word with this ending, and then you put that word after that, it means something. If you put it opposite, it means maybe something little different. So you put it, it's like a mathematical formula, the sentence. So the logic means grammar. And on the basis of grammar, they logically are coming to the conclusion and giving explanation how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we as Jivas are His servants, etc., etc. And it's very, very technical, very technical. And Srila Prabhupada's purports are like the same message is there, but it's given with more like easy in easy English and in the simple way, we can say, but still the same intricacies are there. I have heard some devotee told me that there was some Sri Vaishnava in Sri Rangam, I guess, somewhere there. And there are several Sri Vaishnavas who read Srila Prabhupada's books and they relish Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and like that. Although many do not accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an incarnation of the Lord. They don't have this, they don't understand it from the scripture. But several of them, they very much appreciate. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there for 4 months in Sri Rangam through the rainy season. So this is the, how to say, the third place where he stayed the longest time. You know, Puri, Navadvip, and then, of course, there he lived for many years. But in Sri Rangam, he stayed 4 months. So this is like the third place of his longest stay. And and they, one of them said that your Bhaktivedanta Swami, your Srila Prabhupada, you know, put such difficult concepts, you know, philosophical concepts, which we need many pages to describe. He just explains in one paragraph or one page, just given the essence. It's amazing what Prabhupada actually presented in Bhagavatam. And I remember Caitanya Prabhu, when he was seeking the truth, and he was going through his kind of, he very easily remembers everything, and he is learning many languages, and he went through all the different scriptures and different sampradayas and trying to find what is the truth. And finally he came to Srila Prabhupada's books, and he could see it's just the best, you know, it's everything is there, concise, clear, easily understandable. There is nothing. Sometimes we think it's maybe we have read so many times and we already know, and it's quite simple. But if you go really deep, you understand that this is the most amazing explanation of the deep knowledge of all the Vedic spiritual texts. So yeah, we can relish this Srimad Bhagavatam, which was originally given by the Lord Krishna to Brahma. Then Brahma created it with his mouth, as it is said here, because he could see the past, present, and future. And yeah, and as we know, Srimad Bhagavatam, it was given basically by Vyasadeva. It is, and also Vyasadeva was in complete maturity. He was writing Vedas, but he didn't do it in the most and in the best way, we can say. And after writing everything, including Mahabharata, that means including Bhagavad Gita, he was still feeling unsatisfied. So it's interesting. Bhagavad Gita was there also. I always think about it when but because Bhagavad Gita is purely, I mean, this is the essence. Yeah? It's the essence of the Vedas, and there is nothing wrong with Bhagavad Gita. But one thing which always comes to my mind is how Bhagavad Gita is placed. Usually a person who reads it have a tendency just, you know, you have Mahabharata, and it's placed just in front of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And when you read Mahabharata, it's kind of adventurous book, especially the version we have, you know. It's like a lot of adventure and a lot of fighting and great heroes and killing of the Rakshasas and enemies. And when you start to read Mahabharata, it's very difficult to stop. You want to read, you want to see what will happen next, and it's very exciting. And then the war of Kurukshetra comes, and the reader is really excited, you know, for the battle. And then 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are there. So I have to admit, I don't even remember if I just I just skipped it, because I have Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, which I study. I wanted to, or I just went through it very quickly, but that was, I immediately like sensed, okay, this is the tendency, you know. Now I want the action, and now philosophy is here. So I don't know if other people, this is just my personal observation, that how the Bhagavad Gita is placed is that the person who is reading it wants to go farther, you know, fight, you know, the Kurukshetra and Arjuna and all there will be the battle, and so like that. And also, although the Krishna, it's also explained somewhere that Krishna is there in Mahabharata, but the main focus is not on bhakti put in there. The stress is not so strong as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam. So so Vyasadeva was not satisfied. He was not happy. He was a little morose. And then Narada Muni came, and he analyzed also himself. He came to the conclusion himself. It's interesting. He was analyzing himself, introspective, and thinking, how is it? And he was coming to the conclusion, and he's already almost grasped the conclusion that it must be because I didn't really describe properly the Krishna's pastimes and like that. And then Narada Muni is coming at that time, and he's chastising him actually. He's chastising him and also glorifying. That's also interesting. He's telling how he is great and amazing, and also he is telling some really heavy stuff. In the name of Vedas, you encouraged people for sense gratification. So what could be more painful, for Vyasadeva to hear? He wanted to help people to come back home, back to Godhead, and this he got from his spiritual master. In the name of the Vedas, in the name of the following Vedas, you just encourage them to stay in this world. So that must have been very painful for him. And then he Bhakti Yogena Manasi Sanya Pranahite Malaya Apashyat Purusham Purnamayam Chatatapashram. He started to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the ecstasy of Bhakti Yoga. And Apashyat Purusham Purnam, he has seen the fully him realized Lord Krishna, the Lord, and Mayam Chatatapashrayam, and his energy which was behind him, as a shadow. So he fully understood in full maturity, full complete bhakti meditation, and fully focused on the Lord in Bhakti Yoga, and then he started to write Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the complete essence, and there nothing is hidden, just clearly said from the very beginning, that Krishna is the Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that he is the Bhagavan Swayam. There are so many incarnations, Avatara, Sankhya, Harisattva, Nidhar, Vijak, so many incarnations of the Lord, like there are so many streams and rivers, so there are so many incarnations of the Lord, but Krishna is the original, he is the Swayam, Bhagavan, he is really the Bhagavan, he is the source of all other forms of the Lord. So we know this is our Paribhasa Sutra in Srimad Bhagavatam, according to which we need to understand the rest of the Bhagavatam. If there is some unclear how is this meant, sometimes it is described how Shiva is great and amazing and like that, but still then we have to take the lens of this verse and see it through that lens, that okay, but Krishna is the supreme, and that comes, if we read a little more, then it again comes clear that Shiva is always praying to the Lord Sankarshan, like that. This Srimad Bhagavatam given to us is the most amazing scripture. It's just phenomenal work, and Srila Prabhupada's purport just made it even more sweet. Shukadeva made it more sweet, and Srila Prabhupada also made it more sweet, more digestible for us, and more understandable, and we can relish Srimad Bhagavatam on our everyday, in our everyday life, in devotional service, and make it our main thing in our life. So, okay, a few points. Maybe somebody has something to add. I will be grateful. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, talk about that. Srila Prabhupada himself proclaimed that he took dictation from Krishna when he was working.
That's amazing, yeah.
And also, he wanted to read his own books.
That is really amazing. Srila Prabhupada was listening to his books, and he was, devotees were reading to him specifically from Krishna book, but also from other books. I said, this is very nice. This is so nicely written. What is this? And in other versions he said, it's actually dictated to me by Krishna. It's Bhaktivedanta ecstasy. So he didn't consider his writing to be his writing. Although he said, I have to I have to think deeply on each word, how to put it so you people can understand and people in the future will understand. So I have to think deeply, and every word is, like chosen to be there, and yeah, that is amazing. I remember also Srila Prabhupada sometimes listened to his lectures to hear how he smashed Mayavada. It was somewhere, at least one occasion was there, somewhere in South India, and he was smashing Mayavada, and some Mayavadis there, and then he was listening, and he was, what do you think, to other devotee who was not there, what do you think, how did I do, was it good? I think it was good, I think I'm satisfied with this. Yeah.
There was one scholar, and he said to Prabhupada that you have translated the word Buddha to an ass. That's not correct.
Buddha.
And Prabhupada said, so what would you translate it to? And then this scholar said something like, somebody who's working very hard with no result. Yeah, that's an ass. It was amazing thing that actually it was the pragmatic way of understanding the word.
Yeah. It's actually, Prabhupada's translations are actually very deep. There is very deep understanding of the whole concept. Some people think that it is simplified or just, but it's actually very, very deep understanding of the whole Sanskrit and knowledge and the history and context and everything. We can't probably appreciate fully if we don't know that much about the Sanskrit and grammar and all these things. But to some extent, we are of course sure in our heart, we have faith in Srila Prabhupada, but if you can also know some things like this, it gives you some firm ground. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada is and we are proud to be Srila Prabhupada's followers, and we feel even more proud on being his followers and on him.
You spoke about Paribhasha Sutra. Who establishes the Paribhasha Sutra? Because we might say to people, this is the Paribhasha Sutra, but they can say, but for us, this is the Paribhasha Sutra.
For that, I think you have to read some Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. I don't remember it exactly. To my knowledge, it's given by the author, and there is some way how to understand it. But I don't recollect. I'm not that much scholarly to tell you exactly how it comes. It's a long time ago. I really get to this information for the first time, and maybe some of you know, but this is.
I just heard that Jiva Goswami was establishing this as the main. All the verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, they are like soldiers, and this verse is like the general.
So there will be some logic behind it also, some backing, but I don't know that. But generally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, as we discussed also the other day, gave Rupa and Sanatan order, to establish the philosophy of Bhakti. Then Jiva Goswami actually completed it, and he is considered also the greatest philosopher and scholar of the, recent Vedic tradition, even by scholars. I mean, academics, they consider him very, very special philosopher. Jiva Goswami is very appreciated. So, yeah, like that. To go to Sandarbhas. Anything else? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.